Let's talk about the books I'm planning to read in March. I've already started reading 2 books, and I'm not so far into them, but I started those. And the first one is Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first novel in the Witcher saga, and this is set after the first 2 short story collections, so technically this is the third book you should read in this series. And yeah, it is set directly after after what happened in the short stories. If you're interested in this, I have a review for the first short story collection up already, so you can check that out. And yeah, I will have another review out for the second book, so I'm not going to talk about this too much here. If you're interested in the Witcher world, check out those videos. I'm like about 20 pages into this, so yeah, I hope I'll make some progress in this a lot during this week. The other book I started is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. This is the third book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm also like 25 pages into this book. Yeah, I started this one just yesterday, so I didn't make too much progress. Yeah, these are the first 2 books I'm reading this month, and I hope I'll make some progress. I think A Song of Ice and Fire, like, I don't need to talk about it. It's the book series that the TV show Game of Thrones was based upon. This book in particular was the source material for the 3rd and 4th season of the show, so basically the most highly acclaimed one. So this is also a lot of people's favorite book. I hope I'll enjoy it as much as the others. I think I will, because I love the first 2 books. Yeah, I will be doing reviews for the first 2 books soon as well. I'm not quite sure when those will come out, but yes, if you're interested, stay tuned regarding that. When I'm done with these books, I have a few other books planned. I'm not sure how much reading I can get in this month. I have quite an ambitious TBR for me right now, but yeah, the book I plan on picking up when I finish A Storm of Swords is The Final Empire, which is the first book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second published book by Brandon Sanderson, and also the second book in his Cosmere, which is the universe all of his epic fantasy stories are set in. And I read the first book he published, Elantris. I read that in February. I liked it quite a lot. I'll also have a review for that soon. And yeah, I'm planning to read through the Cosmere this year, so I hope I can pick The Final Empire up rather soon. This book is also it's an epic fantasy series set in a world where the Dark Lord has won. Like, a long time ago, there was a prophesized hero that was supposed to save the world, but he ended up failing, and now the Dark Lord is ruling, and we will see. I'm not quite sure, like, quite some time. I think it's set quite a time after that prophesized hero dies. This is set in a world where the Dark Lord is ruling. And yeah, I don't know a lot about this. I know that Brandon Sanderson is known for his magic systems, and I know a little bit about the magic system in this book, but I've heard this is kind of a heist novel, but I've also heard that you shouldn't say it's that. So, but I don't know a lot of details. I like to go into books rather blindly. I'm looking forward to this book. Yeah, this is one of the higher acclaimed fantasy books by Brandon Sanderson. So I hope I will really enjoy this one. Another book I want to pick up once I finish Blood of Elves is The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. This is a literary fiction, and I think historical fiction. Again, I'm not sure. I don't read synopsises of these books before I start reading them. So this is a book actually that a friend of mine recommended to me. It's one of his favorite books, and he's recommended it. And yeah, it's not the kind of book that I read usually, but I want to get my friend into reading fantasy. And yeah, so I recommended a book to him last year, which he read. So he said, before I can recommend one again, I have to read one of his books. But yeah, I think this looks interesting, and I'll enjoy it. Like, I'm quite open about the books I read, so yeah, I don't think this will be a problem for me. I hope I'll enjoy it quite as much as he does. I don't know if I will do a review for this one. All the other books I talked about until now will have reviews at some point, This one I don't know, but if you're interested in a review for the 40 Rules of Love, let me know down below in the comments. The next book I want to pick up is The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. This is the second book in the His Dark Materials trilogy. I read the first book at the end of last year, and I enjoyed it quite much. I had some issues with it because I didn't like the first third of that book, but I really enjoyed the second 2/3. But I really struggled through that first third. Like I considered not finishing that book. And I talked more about it in my All the Books I Read in 2019 video. It's towards the end, so if you're interested, you can check that out. I still enjoyed the book enough that I wanted to pick up the second and third books. I actually wanted to watch the show first. Then I was told that the first season of the show has some spoilers for the second book. So I just decided I'll finish the trilogy first before watching the show. I can't really say a lot about the setting of this book because it would be quite spoilery. Yeah, the first book was quite interesting. It was about this girl, Lyra. The book is set in a world that is similar to ours, but not exactly. And in this world, humans have so-called demons who are animals who are essentially the soul of the person. So it's an interesting concept, and it also has other fantasy elements to it. I would recommend, if you're interested, to check that out. A lot of the fantasy in that series is based on science, actually, and reinterpretations of scientific concepts. I think it's an interesting story. I think it could be quite an interesting story for a lot of people, and obviously it's a very known trilogy. But yeah, I hope the second book will be a bit better pacing-wise, because as I said, I struggled a lot through the pacing of the first book. I'm looking forward to the story, and I hope I will finish this month. I have 2 more books on my TBR, but those are more tentative. If I get the time, I'll read them, but I'm not expecting to read them because 5 books in a month is already quite a lot for me. But I'm trying to be ambitious. Let's see if it works out. The next book I would read is The Complete Alice. This is a collection of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, which are the 2 books in the Alice in Wonderland series by Lewis Carroll. Obviously, this is a classic, so yeah, this was, I think, the 150th anniversary edition of Alice in Wonderland. I haven't actually read this book ever before. I think I've seen the cartoon movie that as a child, so I know a little bit of the stuff that happens, but yeah, I didn't read it and I don't have all the details of the story in my head, so I think this will be an interesting story. I hope I like it. This also has a foreword by Philip Pullman in it, which will also be interesting, I think. As I said, this is a book that I have on my TBR generally for this year, but I don't know if I can actually get to it this month. And the last book I want to read is actually a non-fiction book. It's called 10 Steps to Earning Awesome Grades. It's written by Thomas Frank, who is one of my favorite YouTubers regarding productivity and studying tips. You can check out his channel. I will link that as well in the info box. You can actually get this book for free as an ebook on his website. I have the physical copy. I have been planning to read it for quite a while, but I've put it off a few times. But yeah, this is quite a short book. I think it's like 100 pages, a little bit more maybe. But yeah, it's quite short and the pages don't have a lot of words, so it should be a quick read. And I want to read that. I think it's self-explanatory, like it's a productivity book, how you should study at college. I don't think it needs to explain too much. Alright, thanks for watching the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and press the notify bell. If you have any suggestions, or if you're interested in any of these books, or if you think I should if you want to see reviews for some of these books, let me know in the comments down below. Check out my links in the description as well. That was it for the video for today. Thanks for watching and goodbye.